Back in by Lodi. Great ball in. 1-0. It was coming. They've made a fantastic start. And it's João Felix. Not used to seeing him with a flying header. But that's the perfect start for Atletico Madrid. And United are going to have to come from behind it. And now Fernandez across halfway. Looking for Elanga. Fantastic! Manchester United are level. Anthony Elanga's dream story continues.
Just uses the angle of Oblak coming out, and he does everything right. Puts it just inside the far post.
United take a creditable draw back to Old Trafford for the second leg. Anthony Elanga, their hero.
Glory, glory, Manchester United. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of this podcast. In this episode, we'll be analyzing our last game with Atletico Madrid in the Champions League round of 16. How did you anticipate the game? Well, for me, I was expecting us to even have a slight swing, at least. And I felt Ronaldo to perform against Atletico Madrid probably to be another remarkable day, But it was a bad result at the end of the day, because at least we equalized. Thankful to Elanga, who stepped up to the light, scoring us our equalizer. Looking at the way we faced Atletico Madrid, I'm not sure we are ready to face any of all these bigger teams, because the intensity was so high in the game and it was so difficult for us to contain the energy they were giving us. Like, we're just trying to rally ourselves around the ball. We're not clinical enough. We're not precisely doing the things we need to do to get the result. For me, it was kind of disappointing because I was expecting us to be kind of better, but it just shows we're not getting better. We are just taking advantage of situations, like whenever we meet a less stronger team, we can flex our muscles. Whenever we meet the bigger teams, I think we're lazy as fuck. Now let's go to the analysis to understand what happened in the game. Atletico Madrid had 37% ball possession and we had 63% ball possession. They had 2 big chances and we had 1 big chance. They had 1 big chance missed and we had none. They had 221 accurate passes and we had 447 accurate passes. They had 19 fouls committed and we had 16. They had 2 offsides and we had 1. They had 8 corners and we had 3. They had 13 total shots and we had 7. They had 9 shots of target and we had 3. They had 1 shot on target and we had 2. They had 3 block shots and we had 2. One of their shots hit the woodwork and none of our shots hit the woodwork. They had 10 shots inside the box and we had 1. They had 3 shots outside the box and we had 6. It's obvious with these statistics that we didn't go hard, we didn't do more. Looking at our shots way lesser than theirs, we had 7 when they had 13. So it shows we had lesser energy in the game throughout. Like, we're not forceful enough. And again, when we wanted to recover the ball, I could see we were slumpy with recovering the ball. It takes us a while before we could recover the ball. Like, until probably the second half, when we stepped up our game and the energy was kind of more higher then, and the marking was clinical also. For the first half, our attacking was poor as fuck. Our defense was vulnerable. Assuming they were so fierce, they could have broken our defense into pieces. As to the passes, they had 305 total passes and we had 541 total passes. We always stay having the high chunks of passes. They had 221 accurate passes and we had 447 accurate passes. They had 93 passes in their own half, wow, less than 100. And we had 274 passes in our half. Assuming we could have more passes in their own half. And in those passes in opposition half, it's more needed when we're facing these bigger teams. We should not be flexing our muscles with all these smaller teams with our passes, having a high chunk of passes in their half. And I think facing smaller teams, we should work on our counters. And then facing the bigger teams, we should work on how we break them, how we make them tired, how we get them tired, and how we increase our passes in their own half. But I feel that's the only way for us to get all these results we want. Because now we overuse our energy facing the smaller teams. And when we have to face bigger teams, we become relaxed and we can't get the results we want if we are becoming relaxed facing the bigger teams, because that's where we need to even put more energy. They had 128 passes in our own half and we had 173 passes in their own half. They had 26 accurate long balls and we had 32. They had 3 accurate crosses and we had 3 also. They had 20 throws and we had 18. To the defense, they had 14 tackles won and we had 10. They had 15 interceptions and we had 7. They had 2 blocks and we had 3. They had 13 clearances and we had 18. They had 1 keeper save and we had none. I guess it was kind of no stress game for the game. To the duels won, they had 50 duels won and we had 56. They had 35 ground duels won and we had 38. They had 15 aerial duels won and we had 18. They had 4 successful dribbles and we had 3. To me, I could say they controlled the ball more, except for the fact that they didn't have more passes, which could have increased their possession and everything. The counter was very sleek. The first goal, I don't know how the goal came out of Maguire's before getting to Joao Felix. Like how? Like you are last defender, you should know any cross coming into our box is a setup for the opponent's goal. So like I don't know why you should have to feel like, oh, I should let this ball slide through. Like how? You have to clear the ball. That's your duty in that position. I don't get to understand how he left the ball there because he wasn't even fighting for the ball. And you know that any ball coming to the box is so dangerous. Well, you could have cleared the ball. Then Joao Felix was able to take advantage. And it was an early goal. Like assuming this guy wasn't there for us, we could have lost that first tie already. Like giving us the headache of trying to win by force in the second tie. So the player rating of the game was Geoffrey Kondogbia, Atletico Madrid player, and followed by Joao Felix, then Bruno Fernandes, then Lodi, Antonio Elanga, Risoko. Or in the top 10 player ratings of the match, we had just about 4 players. So the big chances created, there was only a big chance created for us by Bruno Fernandes, and for Atletico Madrid, that was Lodi. So the total shots, Joao Felix had 5, that was the highest in the game, followed by Ronaldo, who had 2. There was this picture of Ronaldo even signaling for the ball, asking desperately for one chance, like one chance to get us a win, but like it was just unfortunate that day. When the top 10 total shot rating of the game, we had like 5 players, and to the pass success, we had Harry Maguire with the highest. He had 60 total passes, followed by Lindelof, then Varane, Fred, Nick Pereira from Atletico Madrid, then Bruno Fernandes, Shaw. In the top 10 pass success rating of the game, we had about 7 players. And to the successful dribbles, we only had Alex Telles, Marcus Rashford, and Wan-Bissaka, who had 1 dribble each. In the top 5 successful dribble ratings, we had like 3 players. And to the tackles won, we had Fred as the third with 2 tackles, Marcus Rashford also with 2 tackles, Lindelof with 2, and Bruno Fernandes 1 and Alex Telles 1. In the top 10 tackles won rating, we had just 5 players. Well, the game is average, except for the fact that we didn't get the result we want. I think winning is our only result. We have to opt in for now. Like, we don't have any other options right now aside from winning. If we're not winning, the draw is almost like a lose to me right now, especially for us, considering our situation in the whole competition. Because even if we were to claim the Champions League, we need much more energy, double the energy we are using in the Premier League. So we have not gotten exactly what we wanted yet. We want clinical football from our players, and they are yet to give us that. But that's that about the player analysis of the game. So now to the blog post. Let's see what the bloggers are saying about our team. The post here says Ralf Rangnick fires message to Manchester United players about role model Antonio Elanga. Wow, Antonio Elanga, role model. It says Ralf Rangnick has warned his senior Manchester United players that they must step up and match Antonio Elanga's passion for the club if they are to be successful. Honestly, when Elanga came in, I was still scared again. Like, yo, against Atletico Madrid, is this guy going to turn up for us? Like, is it the perfect sub for us? And it happened, he was the perfect sub. So, like, United put in another mediocre display in Wednesday's Champions League clash with Atletico Madrid, but were saved by a late equalizer from substitute Elanga, whose 88th minute strike cancelled out Joao Felix header. After the game, Rangnick did not shy away from admitting that Elanga saved the day for United, and questioned why some of his senior players find it hard to match the academic graduates' energy and urgency. Anthony, in all the games that he has played so far, just shows that he's playing with all the passion, all the fun and all the joy, Rangnick said. He's just enjoying himself on the pitch and is fully aware of his strengths, his assets, his weapons. He's always trying to play and show those weapons. This is what he did again today. Not only the goal he scored, he had 2 or 3 great runs, and whenever he did that, you could all of a sudden see that Atletico had problems with his kind of approach. But we have to show that on other positions as well. So not only with Anthony Elanga or 1 or 2 other players, we just have to play like that on every single position. And if we want to proceed to the quarterfinals in a couple of weeks at Old Trafford, we have to play exactly like that. Rangnick has been praised for his in-game changes in recent weeks, with Elanga's goal, the third in a row for United, that has come from a substitute, but the boss dismissed suggestions that he was bailing the team off. I don't know if I rescued it, but after the performance in the first half, it could only get better. What we played in the first half, I still cannot believe it continued. We played without conviction, without aggression, and that's why I was struggling. Second half, we did better, more possession in areas that mattered, and if we played another 10 minutes, we might have won the game. We have to play better in the first half. I was very disappointed by that performance in the first half. Against and with the ball, we were far too apprehensive and did not take any risk. We only played it in our own half, and then it is difficult against a team like Atletico. Honestly, you have to go out against that kind of team, try to make them commit, try to confuse them. You don't do your passes in your own half and expect greater result like how we done in the opposition half, especially against this kind of fired up team, Atletico. Well, to the next blog post, it says Manchester United's 3 worst players against Atletico Madrid. Okay, let's see what the worst players, according to the bloggers. For 80 minutes, Manchester United were overawed and second best against Atletico Madrid. Then Anthony Elanga popped up with a crucial equalizer. Bruno Fernandes had been poor all night and would have made this list until he proved the defense splitting assists for Elanga. All is forgiven. And again, Fernandes has to be clinical. I don't know why he misses some kind of opportunity. Like, if you cannot finish, give other people to finish. I don't know why. We are selfish with the ball sometimes. United come away with a 1-1 draw to take back to Old Trafford. A decent result considering how bad the performance was. At full time, we took a look at United's 3 best players on the night, and to counter that amid a generally poor display, here is a look at United's 3 worst players against Atletico. First, Marcus Rashford. There are not many nice ways to put this. Marcus Rashford was terrible. Every decision he made was wrong, and countless attacks broke down when he got the ball. Rashford was a liability to United in attack, not an asset. It's hard to pinpoint what has gone wrong for him, but United are better off when he's on the bench. Anthony Elanga is a better all-round player right now and has more confidence. Rashford completed only 71% of his passes and looked utterly deflated when it came off. It would be a big surprise if Rashford started the second leg. Secondly, Paul Pogba. The player was dominant against Leeds on Sunday, was overwhelmed against Atletico. Pogba had no space as Atletico crowded him out. He was even furious when he got him out. Not easy at the end of the day. The Frenchman is capable of more and should have more influence in the second leg. It was not a surprise to see him substituted. Pogba is usually accurate with the ball, but this disheartened him. With just 76% of his passes complete, he lacked tenacity and fight like the Atletico players, who just seemed to want it more than he did. And lastly, Luke Shaw. United didn't expect any forward forays from Victor Lindelof at right back. They should have expected something going forward from Luke Shaw and got nothing. Shaw was too timid and looked like the occasion got to him. He could have helped Marcus Rashford out if he got forward and created an outlet, but there was nothing. United looked better when Alex Telles came on in the 66th minute, and the Brazilian has to be in with a real shout of starting the second leg, honestly. Shaw also was low energy in the game, but that's the blog post 3 worst players against Atletico Madrid. Well, we were bad, we need to do more. Well, we actually need to do more, like, we really need to do more. But that's that about the blog post of this episode. And on to the next game, we'll be facing Watford. Well, I think facing Watford could be easy for us, like, we could easily get a 3-0 win. That's if our energy is overwhelming. If not, we'll be the ones to be overwhelmed. I won't just expect that much from our team. I'm just expecting a win. Anything is possible. And if we are won, no big deal. Still remain red forever. So until the next episode, remain red and forever remain red.